What's good, you guys? I hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. I know we are at the floor. Um, absolutely beautiful way to start the week this week. Um, Funny enough, what's up, Levon? What's up, Sean? Funny enough, we had absolutely no setups this morning. And we ended up catching a 31% trade on Tesla here. This was an just absolutely nutty move here. We ended up getting in at the pre-market high on this, which was 235.37, right at this 10-10 candle. Ended up breaking, and I was really just looking to sell on the 240 break here. We got that 240 break, and by the time my contracts were done getting filled, we were already at like 242. This was just an absolutely insane move. And then obviously, a couple minutes later after we get out, we're already up above 250. Contracts did over 100% just in this short little push here. But that was an absolutely insane play. And honestly, if you didn't catch it on the way up, you could have caught it on the way down too. Very nice start to the week. I know personally it was a pretty good day for me. I know definitely for the chat it was a good day. We got a lot of people in here. It was their biggest day. I know some people Bolts caught 65%. Dave made 12 hundo. Yeah, it was a beautiful day. So great way to start the week. Can't ask for much better than that, especially going into it knowing that we had no setups to actually start our day with. So definitely beat my expectations, that's for sure. Caught Tesla today before that reversal was done. Real easy peak sell. Cake. Yeah, absolutely, Levon. For sure. Let's see here. So anybody that's joining right now, I don't know if there's anybody that's not in the floor that's in here, but I am going to do a giveaway for a couple of week trials for those of you that are in here and stick around to the end of this live. Honestly, I'm not expecting it to take that long just because I kind of know what we did price action wise. Levon, you've already got lifetime, brother. I don't know that a free trial is going to do you any good there. Great trade. I got in as soon as Trump announced possible pause in tariffs. Got a 630 fill. That's absolutely nuts, Dave. My fill on that was like 740 something. So you had like $110 jump on me per contract, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, I just remember a couple candles later, I look back, we're above 250, and I'm looking at contracts. They're at like 14, 15. I think they hit a peak of like $1,600 a contract, which ended up from my entry would have been like 110, 111%. But yeah, that's nuts. Was the fake news? I hopped off before. Like Dave said, possible pause in tariffs. So definitely sparked a lot of attention there, to say the least. Today was good. Everything was just so expensive. So whenever you have such a big move down and especially a gap down over the weekend, the IV on all of these stocks, on all of these contracts is just cranked to the max right now. Like the contract pricing we're working with right now would be the equivalent of every single stock in our watch list having earnings. That's the same type of IV we're looking at. Like Tesla contracts, Apple contracts, even SPY contracts today. At the money, 0 DTE SPY contracts were like $680 today. They're usually like $100. So every single thing today is just absolutely jacked as far as IV goes. Which obviously it's because they're trying to price in such a big move, and knowing how much volatility is there, try and even out the playing field a little bit. So the fact that we had that big of a move on contracts with that much implied volatility is pretty nuts, actually. So either way, though, yeah, that's what happens when you get such a big move down like that. You're gonna see a jump in IV. So give me 1 second here. I don't know if can you guys hear my dog in the background? I feel like every single time, like he's super chill all day long, doesn't make a peep, and then as soon as I start a live stream, he's like, Taz. Doesn't look like you guys can hear it. All right, that's perfect. Perfect. But as far as tonight's lesson goes, or I guess lesson charting session, gonna be a typical charting session, going through my watch list A to Z, seeing what I like for tomorrow, seeing what I like for the rest of the week, and formulating a watch list for the day. Like I said, though, this might be a fairly short stream just because we did have obviously a huge sell-off over the weekend. We ended up having a pretty huge pop on everything today, and then also selling right back off to where we were beforehand, which puts us in a position where we're kind of in the middle of extreme highs and extreme lows, and we really don't have much in between. So we'll go ahead and see what we've got cooking here for tomorrow and the rest of the week. But as far as right now goes, I'm not a fan of anything on Apple up until we get back to lows. Airbnb, let's see what this looks like. Yeah, I think I'm good on that as well. AMD. So I would be... Never mind. I was going to say I would be okay with playing like today's high on AMD or something like that, but even then we're pretty far away. Amazon actually held up fairly well, and we had a bounce, we had a sell-off, and then we ended up recovering actually a decent amount of that. So Amazon actually doesn't look bad here at this 183.41 high from today. So I'll probably go ahead and mark that, take note of it, just for when we get to the end, we can come back and see what that looks like compared to anything else. ARM actually had my interest today. The only thing with ARM is just lower contract volume and wider spreads. So that is a bit of a problem. It's definitely a problem for us. But yeah, ARM, I think I'm going to have to skip on. AVGO held up very, very well. It actually closed and made new highs after hours, which is nice. I like to see that. Honestly, I would look at high of day from today on AVGO. We've got another little resistance right here from Thursday. And we've got that 5-minute trend as well. Yeah, that seems fairly solid, fairly reasonable target as well. AVGO looks good. I do like that. BA, I think I'm going to pass on just because BA is difficult with volume. I do like, though, that we were able to kind of see what the overall consensus with the market was today, because today could have been one of those days that we just actually, like, we had nothing pre-market and ended up seeing nothing, you know, during trading hours as well, just because when you have that big of a sell-off, it's very, very easy for the market to have some type of recovery, but that recovery is going to be with almost no setup as well. So I'm glad we were able to actually catch something while giving the market a little bit of time to regain consciousness from being knocked out of the park here. Let's see, CRM, probably gonna pass, but I'll take a look. Yeah, I'm good. Proud, I'm also good. Low volume on the contracts. DAL, nope. DDOG actually is holding up pretty nicely, but doesn't really have any setups that I am too concerned with. stuff like DDOG, DAL. Well, DAL's got earnings this week, actually. I think they had them. Oh, yeah. Wednesday before open. But stuff like this, like CRM, Crowd, DAL, DDOG, those have to be ones that have just immaculate setups for me to be watching it, because I know otherwise they're going to have pretty much no volume and going to be very, very difficult for us to trade. So it's also one of the reasons you see us revert to Tesla and Nvidia, Meta so often, is because those have pretty consistent volume all the time. Google here, I think. Google doesn't look bad, but it also doesn't look the best. The thing that is drawing me to it more is the fact that we have a whole number resistance here. We could probably look to play today's high into that. It's definitely something I would keep an eye on. So yeah, I'll go ahead and mark this, and what we'll do is come back later and see if it looks better than anything else. IBM held up pretty well, but once again, lack of setups. Meta actually held up all right. We are about $14 away from today's high. But also, when Meta's ready to make a move, Meta can make a move pretty easily. So, honestly, I could expect us pre-market, and this is not saying, you know, anything for certain, but what I could expect from this pre-market, if we do see upside, is I could see us opening closer to this 533 area. And then that actually gives us a pretty good opening range right here where we can take advantage of that high of day into the 540 break. And then above 540, we've got 541.83. Then after that, we really don't have another major resistance until above 550. So that's well more than I would be looking for. DAL had earnings. How to sig play second time. Oh yeah, Bolts. The last time DAL had earnings, we did catch a very nice play on that. So the only thing with that is, as of right now, we just don't really have any setups on it, and it's going to be hard telling until after earnings. So like after earnings, I'd be able to make a better call on that. But yeah, I'm super down to play DAL. It's just got to have some kind of catalyst behind it. Marvel, we have gonna say we have a flat top at 55, but we did break by 2 cents earlier. Marvel actually doesn't look that bad though. Marvel, one of those, or once again, one of those stocks that you've got to watch out for volume on, but Marvel's setup looks solid. Cool. Microsoft, I'm all good. MSTR, I'm all good. MSTR had a crazy range for today. 298 all the way down to 254, or well, even 244 pre-market. That's pretty nuts. Yeah, it's going to be a minute on MSTR before we've got anything noteworthy. Also, just for reference, how many of you guys in here right now are actively trading? Or do we have any complete newbies in the stream? That's what I want to see. I want to see some more newbies in the stream. I feel like this is probably more helpful for them than it is for those of you that are in the chat every single day. Nvidia actually at highs does not look bad. And then above this, so we've got a 15-minute trend that we're going to have to break before we hit today's highs. After this, 102.65, that's pretty solid. That is pretty solid. Actually gonna leave this here just for some reference. Okay. All right, NVIDIA looks good. Actively trading right now. I'm doing future. That's not exactly what I meant, Levon, but I hope you're doing well. Part time. Dave, I know you're not new. I know you're not new. Oracle. Oracle. I'm all good on Oracle. PLTR. Looks like we've got, once again, just some nice highs here. All these levels look like they're to the upside, so let's hope we get some upside tomorrow. 81.84. Yeah, that looks really good. We've got a flat top on PLTR. That looks nice. We actually have a lot more setups than I expected. Let's see. Reddit, all good. Actually doesn't look bad, but trash volume, horrible spreads. Shop, once again, does not look bad, but trash volume, horrible spreads. Actually, a lot of these setups are pretty much identical, to be honest with you. SMCI was actually strong on the close today. I might just keep SMCI in the side watch, no specific levels for it, but I might throw it in the side watch just to keep an eye on pre-market if we have anything, because SMCI did a really, really good job today. Snow, I'm good. SPY obviously had a gap down. Looks exactly the same as all the other charts, except actually SPY had pretty significant move to the upside compared to a lot of these. Like, we had a pretty significant move on everything, but SPY actually knocked it out of the park a little bit further. Tesla, right now I don't have anything, but I know for a fact I'm always checking Tesla. So I'm sure there'll be something intraday on that, or maybe even pre-market, but right now I don't have anything for Tesla. UPST, I'm all good. Walmart, nope. XYZ, nope. And ZM, no. All right, so out of everything here, let's see. Amazon, AVGO for sure. The AVGO is probably going to be main watch. Yeah, I guess we can go ahead and rank these after we make the watch list, but I'll go ahead and just get this watch list started here. So, boom, just completely start fresh. I feel like I never know where to put this. I'm streaming on an ultra wide, it makes the words so small. Amazon at the 183.41 high of day, targeting a move to the 184 break, and then let's see, do we have any trends after this? So we actually have a decent amount of room on this. I guess the 15-minute would probably be the best thing to use here. And then this level is lining up with the top of this trend as well, so that's cool. Room to 185, then the 15-minute trend at 185, 39. Cool. Next up, AVGO. AVGO. If this doesn't break pre-market, this one's kind of a gimme as long as there's volume behind it. This is a pretty standard setup here. Not much to question, not much to worry about. What's up? What's up, signature? AVGO. Looking at the 162.48 high day. Targeting a move to the next resistance at 163.42. After that, we have room to the 164 break for, well, at 164.50 for my final target. Lovely. Yeah, Levon, it's like that sometimes, man. It's just like that. You gotta be locked in on one at a time, and that's kind of how it goes, to be honest. Like, there'll be times where we don't touch Tesla for months, and then there's also times where the only thing we're trading is Tesla. Google, looking at the 152.85 high day. All these are going to be high of day, something or other, into another level. Targeting a move to the 154 resistance. Break. There we go. Simple. Keeping it simple. Meta. At 539. 37. Targeting a move to the. Jeez. We got the same trends, same like everything on all these. Guess we'll go ahead and stick on the 15-minute then. Targeting a move to the next resistance at 541.83. Then the 15-minute trend at 542.18 for my final target. Marvel. Here's something a little different. Marvel. In a 15-minute wedge. Looking at the 55.02 flat top. Targeting a move to the 56 break, then 56.61 resistance for my final target. Breaking out of this trend should give us an extra boost of momentum for this setup. And honestly, if you guys don't do like exactly this and what I do when I write my trade ideas in the mornings, where you're writing down other things about it, like that's completely fine. You can write down your levels, you can write down your targets, but anything that you can make note of that's going to either make your trade look better or make your trade look worse, I personally find it helpful to take note of those things, just so I know, like, you know, if I'm looking at the difference between just like, let's say a pre-market high or something on Google, or even on Tesla. Let's say it's a pre-market high on Tesla, which Tesla's obviously going to be a favorite stock for me. So I'm going to usually give that more weight than I give to other just stocks in general, really. But let's say you write down stuff like this where it's like, oh, we have a trend that should be able to help us out here and give us a little bit more of a boost into the levels we need it to, versus just looking at a pre-market high. It might make me sway one way or the other and say, okay, I do like the stock better, but this one has more potential for a bigger move overall. So I might look at this instead, like if they're happening at the same time. And that's usually how I dwindled down what my favorite watch for the day is just based off of the extra little things. Like, and if all of them have the exact same setup, I'm obviously just going to pick the stock that I like the best. So yeah, I mean, that's I don't know, just something I figured I'd throw out there. NVIDIA looking at the 175 resistance, targeting a move to the next key level at 102.65. Then we have PLTR, and I think that's actually our last one is going to be PLTR. PLTR is in a 15-minute wedge as well. It's just a lot wider. PLTR. Looking at the 81.84 flat top, targeting a move to 84 and all right, sick. So that is everything that I'm watching for tomorrow. And if you guys want me to go over anything, like if you guys have any stocks you want me to check out, feel free to let me know, and I'm glad to take a look at it. We've got a very decent amount of time left in this starting session here, so we can do whatever we want with this time. Anybody that isn't in the floor, you don't have to type in chat, but anybody that isn't in the floor, if you guys want the chance to win a free trial for a week, not just 3 days, for a whole week, all you need to do is like, comment, and share my most recent Instagram reel. And I'm going to be picking 3 of you. So you guys do that. My phone is currently dead. I'm going to go get my phone charger. I'm going to come back and let's hang around. We can turn this into a Q&A session, but in the meantime, for those of you that want the chance to enter or want the chance to win, like, comment, share. And I'm going to get my phone charger and I'll be right back. All right, Let's see here. Also, like I said, if you guys have any stocks you want me to go over, any questions you might have, feel free to ask them. I'm more than happy to sit around for the next 30 minutes and turn this into a Q&A if you guys would like. But yeah, like I said, these are the stocks right here that I'm going to be watching for tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and actually rearrange these in order of, well, try and arrange them in order of favorite to least favorite. Inmax. Okay, I'll check out Inmax, HIMS. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and rearrange these though, just so I can try and keep these somewhat in order. AVGO, I know I really like. Marvel, ELTR. ELTR is actually probably going to go next. Andrea, we kind of went over SPY, but honestly, if I'm trading SPY, it's always an intraday setup. It's not something that I chart out ahead of time because SPY breakouts and breakdowns are not the same as the breakouts and breakdowns on all the other stocks we trade, and I've found it more difficult to even try and mess with that rather than take the couple of setups that 98% of the time when I'm trading them, they work out exactly like I want them to. So I prefer to trade intraday setups on SPY rather than chart them out ahead of time. Let's see. So Amazon, let's check out Google real quick. Google's kind of far, so Google can stay down there. Meta is also far. But I do like Meta better than Amazon, so I'm going to put it up here, and then all these down here are going to be my side watch. Let's see. And then as far as side watch goes, NVIDIA's going to be at the top of that. Marvel, I'm going to go ahead and put above Google. All right, cool. Yeah, there's a rearranged version. If you guys aren't in the floor, make sure you take a screenshot of this and save it. You guys can plot out these levels on your own. If you are in the floor, I'm going to send them in chat in just a moment. Or actually, you know what? I'll do that right now. I will do that right now. Boom. And tomorrow's watch from the stream. There we go. Okay. Inmax. So Inmax doesn't have contracts until the 17th of April. No volume. Yeah, I'm gonna be definitely taking a hard pass on that one, Levon. Then HIMS, let's see. HIMS at 30 doesn't look bad, actually. Contracts are a little cheap for my liking, but HIMS at 30 to the upside looks decent. I mean, above that as well, there's some levels that look decent too. 32 and what is this? 33.70 also look nice. So if that's a stock you like trading, then yeah, 30 on the 30 to the upside on that looks good. I will say though, it's not going to be one that I'm watching. So since you're going to be watching that on your own, make sure you're watching for strength compared to the market. Make sure you're watching for momentum before your entry. Make sure you're watching for the same exact things that I'm watching for in all of my trades, right? So since you're going to be watching that on your own, just keep that in mind. How do you do that so fast? Levi, and I don't want to say this because it's not super easy, but charting is like the easiest part of trading by a long shot. Like once you figure out how to do it, it is the easiest part by far. And really, what you're looking for are peaks and valleys. And I've said it a million times, and I'm gonna say it a million more times because that question is never gonna stop. But you're literally looking for peaks and valleys. So when you're charting, and especially when you've been doing it for 8 years, every single day and every single night, it's something that you get pretty quick at. What makes you like that level on hymns? I mean, if you're looking at any level on hymns, 30 is going to be the level, but it's a psychological level. Overall, it's an inverse H pattern here, which is a continuation pattern to the upside. It's got decent room. So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't really look like a bad setup by any means. It looks exactly like the other setups on the other stocks we're looking at. The contracts are just cheaper and have less volume. And actually, they have a pretty decent spread behind them too, to be honest. 70, I guess they closed the day at 75 on the bid and 81 on the ask, which let me see here. Yeah, I mean, you're talking an 8% spread there. So let's see. Let's see. Remember, guys, if you want to win the free week trial, last reel I posted on my IG, like, comment, share. And I got you. What if when you look at the charts, wait, what if when you look at the charts, you do that now, like you explain everything you're looking at and why you like it? Hold on. Can you reword that, please, Levon? What if when you look at the charts, you do that now, like you explained? Okay. You don't have to like break it down into multiple messages. Just the rewording the initial message would be helpful. You would say, I like this level because there's a blank here. Yeah, so I would like this level because it's a resistance. Pretty clear. It's a psychological level. Not only is it a whole dollar increment, it is also a whole $10 increment. We have an inverse H pattern here, which is a continuation bullish pattern to the upside. We've also got a nice amount of room here before you hit any type of restriction whatsoever on this, which is the 15-minute trend. And after that, you've got some pretty solid levels as well to the upside. They're very, very clear. The water is not muddy around here. These are very, very clear resistances. They're throwing it right in your face here. So, yeah. I feel like I just said that. Maybe not. I might be losing it, but I thought I explained the reasoning behind that one. But yeah, that would be why I say that's a solid setup. It's just as solid of a setup as pretty much all the things we're watching as well. Just, like PLTR is definitely clearly stronger than everything else was. Nvidia, pretty strong as well. Some of these are stronger. Some of them are fairly similar. Just based off of the close and the after hours moves. Some of them, like I said, are stronger. Some of them are about the same, but it's the same type of setup on every single thing that we're looking at for tomorrow. So, technically, setup wise, that one's just as good as any of the other ones we've looked at. I just personally don't like messing with super cheap contracts and having to worry whether there's going to be volume or not. So that's the only problem with HIMS for me, at least, is just the overall lack of volume. But if you're not trading with, if you're trading with an $85 position, then that's perfect. That's one contract. If you're trading with a $10,000 position, that's 100. That's over 100. And I don't like whenever the most expensive contracts that have volume that I can play, I don't like having to buy 100 of them to get a decent position size. And also, like I said, that I mean the spread on those contracts was right around 8%. So, for one contract and an $85 position, that's technically not that much. But like I said, like a 10K position, you're down 800 right off the bat. 8% is huge, right? Nice, Levi. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the stream, and we'll see where we're at there with that. But I would imagine everybody who does that is gonna get a link sent to them. Just saying that for the recaps. Oh, got you, Levon. Do you have any other questions, any other topics you want me to cover while we're still here? People tend to stick longer when you dumb it down. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying with the content. I feel like people are liking it, but also it's like not really doing anything, which is kind of unfortunate because it's like I feel like I'm wasting time editing videos and like uploading videos and stuff, but like hey, it is what it is. Because honestly, like every single Threads post that I make gets 10 times more engagement than anything on Instagram ever does. So yeah, and Instagram requires 10 times more work than Threads does. So that 800 something now. Yeah. Yeah. It's not horrible. Oh, you're talking about the $500 account challenge. It's already at 800 in a day. Jeez. All right. Good stuff. I thought you were talking about something different, Levon. I thought you were talking about something different. I didn't see you preface that with the $500 account challenge. No. That's actually insane. I said this last time, man. I need to bring like Kevin Hart on here or something to jump around in the background. How do you know to take it to the upside versus downside? Levi, the so I would imagine that you're saying like how do I know that a resistance is a breakout versus a rejection? Is that what you're asking? Well, how to know when to buy puts or calls, it depends on what the setup is. If you're looking at a support, you're going to be looking at puts. If you're looking at a resistance, you're going to be looking at calls. Because you're talking either a breakout or a breakdown. So a breakout, I'm going to be looking at calls. A breakdown, I'm going to be looking at puts. But if you're asking how you know a resistance level is going to be a breakout rather than a rejection, let me know and I will answer that. You're curious? Okay. I was trying to get some confirmation from Levi there, but either way, I'll answer the question regardless. If you're looking at a resistance level, and it was a question that I asked myself all the time too. I kind of just went with it, but like I didn't really understand it until I realized that all of the things we're looking at in order to enter the position are the reasons that the stock is breaking out rather than rejecting, if that makes sense. So like the momentum that we're looking for into our level, the level 2, the time and sales, the strength compared to the market, that combined is what gives us the breakout from a resistance rather than a rejection from a resistance. And I always thought it was backwards because I'm like, if I'm looking at a resistance, why am I playing it to the upside? Why is it going to the upside? And I had to put the puzzle pieces together there. But the reason that we're looking at these levels to continue to the upside or to continue to the downside, that's why we have the things that we look at for our entry. So reading level 2, reading time and sales, overall price action, volume, strength and weakness. Those are the reasons that the stock is breaking out rather than rejecting. And if you're missing one of those puzzle pieces, it's typically going to reject, or you might get a fake out where you break by just a little bit and then you end up rejecting afterwards. So when you're missing a piece of that puzzle, you don't end up getting the breakout. You don't end up getting the follow through. But when you have the full puzzle there, that's when you get the breakouts. Okay, quick question: did you go over TSM trying to see if I see something or not? Let's see, Jack. I don't have TSM on my watch list, but I am more than happy to look at it. So TSM, it's somewhat similar to the other setups we're looking at for tomorrow. However, it did not close near as strong as a lot of the other stocks did. And we're pretty far away from this level on it. And I wouldn't say that we're much further away from TSM than we are on something like Google, or maybe even Amazon's actually not too bad. Let's see. So like Google, Meta, we're not much further away on TSM than we are on those, but I know that those have a very easy potential to open right at the level we need them to. So the only thing that I would say about this is it's just kind of far away right now, but not to the point where I wouldn't completely skip it. Like I wouldn't completely skip this if this is a stock that you enjoy trading and a stock that you're comfortable with trading. I would just look at today's high, really. That's what pretty much every setup we have for tomorrow. It's either something from today's high or some type of flat top with a trend break or just something along the lines of that. But the issue with days like today is when you set such a high and such a low, it puts you at a weird position where if you're not ending the day pretty much close to high of day, you're going to be really far away from either direction here. And luckily, some of these stocks, like I said, ended up closing stronger than others. Some of them are closer to our levels than others. So that gives us something to look at where we can actually expect to see a move from it tomorrow, rather than saying, okay, this is just in the middle and we might get it, we might not, but end up having absolutely nothing. Some of the things are closing stronger and making their way up to where they need to be for us to execute on that tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, TSM, it's not too bad. I don't really know how TSM moves exactly. It's not a stock that I look at. So if you think that TSM can make it from 148 up to 153, let's say we don't go anywhere between now and market open. If you think TSM can get from 148 up to 153.75 and still have gas in the tank, then I would look at it if I were you. But the reason that I put the ones on my watch list that I have on my watch list are because I know AVGO can get from here to there and have plenty of gas left in the tank. Same thing with PLTR, Meta, Nvidia. Maybe not Amazon, maybe not Google, maybe not Marvel. I know Marvel easily can if it's a good day for Marvel. You know, like Marvel is one of those that it either does absolutely nothing at all, or it's just absolutely blowing everything out of the water with how much momentum it's got for the day. So Marvel's a hit or miss. It's not like we're going to have to take it, though, to find out. I mean, we're going to find out pretty quickly if Marvel's going to have any momentum or if Marvel has any momentum whatsoever. So, like, you know, those that I have in the side watch, they're kind of hit or miss. Like, technically, they can super, super easily make those moves, but it's just got to be a good day for them, you know? But the three I have up here in the main watch, I'm very, very confident that we can not only get a good open on these, but we can also get these setups with gas left in the tank. Unless, you know, after hours or pre-market, we go a completely different direction and we end up seeing none of these things. So anything can happen between now and then, but for now, that's what I've got. That's why I've got it. So it's a very long-winded way of saying if you like TSM and you think that it can easily make this move from here to there with gas in the tank, go ahead and look at it. And it's the same thing I told Levi with HIMS. HIMS is a good setup. I'm not going to be looking at it though. So obviously just make sure when you're ready to execute that it's got all the criteria that we look for when we are looking to take a trade. No problem, Jack. No problem at all. All right. Yeah, that to simplify it as much as possible, yes, Levi. But cool. I appreciate you guys for hanging out, sticking around. If you're in the floor, I threw the watch list in there. If you're not, click that link first thing in the description. There's a free 3-day trial right there. Make sure you join up. Start catching trades with the team, man. Got to. It's been a beautiful start to the week. And like I said, hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Make sure you drop a like on this video and share it with a friend. You think your friends are going to be interested in trading. So anyways, I'll see you guys first thing in the morning for pre-market review. Have a good one. Peace.